The brackets have been set and the teams are ready to hit the court. And DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy, is celebrating with their largest free college basketball survival pool ever. How large? $1 million in total prizes up for grabs.
And if that's not enough, check this out. When you enter the free DraftKings $1 million survivor pool, you could get a shot at winning $10,000 for every upset through the first 2 rounds of the tournament. It's easy to play. Just pick one team per day. If they win, you survive and advance to the next round. The last person standing is the winner. Remember, you can only pick a team once for the entire tournament, so choose wisely. DraftKings is a safe and secure app. You can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience.
So get in all of this week's action. Download the DraftKings app now. Enter code THPN during sign-up and enter the free $1 million survivor pool. Again, that is code THPN to enter into DraftKings free $1 million survivor pool. Eligibility restrictions and terms and conditions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
I was walking through the halls of a Minnesota rink when along came a wild fan who started talking smack to me. He said, I bet you never liked the Blues until they won a cup. And so I calmly turned to him and said, hey man, listen up. I admit it's pretty great to win Lord Stanley's prize, but listen, I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. Yes, sir, I'm a Blues fan. Yes, sir, I'm a Blues fan. Heartbreak's all I knew, man. That team from old St. Lou, man. Got a cup in here, 52, man. Give me a Let's Go Blues. I know Federico, Turnbull, Gilmore, Brown, Channel, Bothwell, Bay, Bitch, Maher, Mullen, Millen, Sutter, Pedersen, Pavasy, Curry, Zuckley, Uthard, Hunter, Schofield, Reeves, Ramage, Kia, Dunlop, Wickenheiser, Crombie, Benning, Raglan, Ewan, Nicoletti, Ramage, Romney, Kozlowski, Evans, Cavallini. Yes, sir, I'm a Blues fan. Yes, sir, I'm a Blues fan. Heartbreak's all I knew, man. That team from old St. Lou, man. Got a cup in here, 52, man. Give me a Let's Go Blues.
And now, the starting lineup for your Bluenotes podcast. Tom Franklin.
The man called BluesFanReacts. Yeah. Hello and welcome to Bluenotes, located on the best city on the Mississippi, the best in the Midwest. We've got that Stanley Cup power. It's right there, too sweet to be sour. And if you're still clueless, we are talking about St. Louis. This is your home for St. Louis Blues coverage on the Hockey Podcast Network. And it's also your mandatory midweek episode. Yay! I am one half of your hosting team, Tom Franklin, joined not by Wags. Wags is busy slinging chicken tonight and doing a great job at it. So Mason, BluesFanReacts, is here for our mandatory midweek episode. How's it going, bud?
It's going just dandy. It's been great. Admittedly, it's been nice not having to record a video the last what is it, like 4 days now? I've been catching up on sleep. It's been unbelievably great.
It has been great. I've been able to somehow pick up even more side hustles during this whole thing, without Blues hockey. So that's what I do. That's my addiction. Just, if you have a sports team and you need a guy to introduce your lineups, I'm your man. Okay. I've got plenty of openings this month. I'm also being positive because it's raining right now in St. Louis, and it's kind of a dreary St. Patty's Day, which shout out to all the Irish watching today. I'm rocking the Blues St. Patty's Day jersey, and never forget as St. Louis FC as well. Their hat here, it's a green hat, so green everywhere. Of course, I didn't wear green to work today because when you wake up at 2:00 in the morning, you tend to forget holidays. So yeah, I got picked on that all day, which sucks. Which sucks. But you know what? It's not as bad as the experience the LA Kings had this week. And the reason we have absolutely no new hockey to discuss in this episode, which, by the way, we're recording before the Wednesday night game because, again, we have lives and we all need to sleep at some point. Thank you, NHL, for these late night games. I love you, Gary Bettman. So the reason we don't have any actual hockey to discuss this week, at least when it comes to the Blues, although we got some, good news, about 2 players coming back tonight. We have to talk about the Kings. going to Colorado, which of course, the hockey team is enough of a pain in the ass, the Avalanche this year. But Denver got some weather, let's just say. That's just, they got like 8 to 12 inches of snow over the weekend. Goodness. Which they can keep it. It's there, and they've given it to us this week because now it's just raining. It's just raining. Thankfully, if it was snow, the city of St. Louis would be shut down right now, and I don't know if I'd even be able to talk to you tonight. So interesting times. So imagine Mason. You just played a tough hockey game in Colorado. You're going to the airport. You're ready to go home. You're getting the hell out of Colorado because it's an inhospitable place, and you're looking forward to the Blues on Monday night, and your plane, gets stuck. Have you ever flown, Mason, and been through a delay? Every minute feels like an hour.
Surprisingly, I've been pretty lucky when it comes to flights leaving on time. There is a time when I went to Europe with my grandmother, and we were going to fly out from... Yes, it was from Amsterdam and flying to Salt Lake City. Because I lived in Seattle at the time, so I had to fly from Amsterdam to Salt Lake City, and then literally then I'd have like a 4-hour window where I could like go eat after that plane. Actually, no, it was closer to about 6 hours or something like that. And then I'd have to get on the flight from Salt Lake to Seattle. Mm-hmm. That plane in Amsterdam got delayed 6 hours. And I was like, actually, no, it was closer to 6.5 hours. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to make my connected flight. I just want to go home. I'm tired. I just got done with it's like an 11-hour flight or something like that. I was so tired. I had been up the night before, just nervous because I'm kind of a nervous flyer. So I was up for, before I even boarded the plane, I was up for 36 hours already. I cannot sleep on the plane. So that's another 11 hours I was awake. And so I was just I was in the 6 hours in the Amsterdam airport waiting for this damn plane to hurry up and take off so I can get back to the States. And I was so tired at that point. And then I just barely made it on that flight. Still never slept on that flight, landed in Salt Lake, and I had to run. I had to book it. I literally skipped security. Like I said, listen, this is my situation. They said, you don't look like you have a bomb on you. You can go right ahead. And so I literally bypassed security, which was so nice. And so I got in that plane literally just as they were closing the door. I'm not even kidding. It was so freaking close. We were lucky that the plane actually ended up landing 30 minutes earlier than it was scheduled to actually touch the ground. Because the pilots booked it because rightfully so, because 6 hours late. And so I got to Seattle, and actually the original flight was for the deal on my tickets. I had to fly from Amsterdam to Salt Lake City to Seattle, back to Salt Lake City, and then to Seattle. So I technically wasn't allowed to get off the plane because that's what my ticket was booked for. But I said, screw it. I've been up for close to 50 hours now. And then when I landed in Seattle, it was morning time. So I had the whole day ahead of me, and I wasn't allowed to sleep that day because, then my sleep schedule would be totally screwed up because I had, school. And so... yeah, I was up. I was to this day. That's the longest I've ever stayed awake, and that was. So yes, I know exactly what it's like to get delayed. But after that, I've never been any plane crash, never anything like that. So it's been good.
Well, clearly not been in a plane crash because you're with us. So
my cousin and grandmother were taking off in Europe way earlier than that, and a seagull sucked into the engine right as they were about to take off. So then that's technically a plane. I've never been in a plane like anything like that. I've been pretty lucky.
Well, I lived a few years ago. I lived in Williston, North Dakota, which is the northwestern corner of the state. It's there. There was an oil boom that happened there in the early 2010s, and the city built up really quick. And I went out there, and I remember I was flying back to St. Louis, and in order to fly from Williston to St. Louis, you have to connect in Minneapolis. So you fly and of course our airport wasn't like a full international airport, so we couldn't even fit big planes on the runways. We had these little tiny Delta planes that we flew to Minneapolis in, which were always they always love to take the turbulence very not very well. Those are want to talk about flight nervousness. Those flights I do not relish those. But one time I had a morning flight, to go from Williston to Minneapolis, and then from Minneapolis to St. Louis, and it was only gonna be like an hour and a half layover. Which is still plenty of time for you to land, get settled in, and casually walk across the airport to where your next plane is, and you probably get some time to sit and chill. Problem is, we had a major ice storm in Williston that morning. And,
oh God!
And they did everything they could to keep the planes going up, and so we were delayed about 2 hours because they constantly had to like spray this like fogger, like this anti-ice stuff on the plane with the big crane, and then like we had to like skedaddle to the runway before we turn into a block of ice again. So this is we're about 2.5 hours late. We get to Minneapolis and we land about, I think, a half hour to an hour I think it was just about a half hour after my flight to St. Louis was going to take off. But I was told that it hadn't been canceled, that they were waiting for me. So we land, and at the time, the Minneapolis airport, which if you ever been to the Minneapolis airport, it's massive. It's like the main airport for like the entire upper like Midwest and that portion. So it's got to be kind of a hub. So we land in Terminal F, which is on one end of the airport. Do you know where my flight to St. Louis, what gate it was out of? Terminal A.
Yeah.
People saw a 300-pound man with 2 suitcases breaking land speed records on this day so I could get to the gates, and I was huffing and I was puffing, but by God, they did not take off without me. So salute Delta.
Thank you, Delta. I love Delta. I hate American Airlines. I love Delta.
Yeah. I'm taking Delta, either Delta or United. I got to double check to Hawaii this June.
Okay.
I'm going to see Guy for the first time in person, and
awesome.
Just have a little chill time. By the way, Guy is here with us. He says hello.
Howdy.
And we'll be, doing his Aloha commentary here in just a little bit here. Also, Luke Widman with us here as well. Of course, his recap raps can be heard on Sundays. And he has his own delay story. He had to sleep on the marble floor of Tel Aviv after our flight got pushed 8 hours for the Holy Land, a very unholy experience. So,
goodness gracious.
That is
I
rough.
bet that was comfortable. Oh,
well, look, it's stories like that, stories like yours, and stories like his where I don't normally take Ambien, but I think for the flight to Hawaii, I'm going to find someone that has some Ambien. And I'm just, because I'm like you. I don't have like a phobia of flying. I just don't enjoy it. So it's like if I can, but I can't sleep in the plane normally. I'm like you. I just couldn't fall asleep that way.
Right.
So I'm gonna need some help on that.
I don't know if I have a phobia. It's more of just like it's not a phobia. It's not really flight anxiety because I don't think I have it that bad. But it is definitely a nervousness there though.
Yeah, if I know you were talking about this, he would have talked about the time he had to sleep in a bowling alley in Bahrain.
What?
Yeah, which where Bahrain is.
Yes, I know where Bahrain is.
Yeah, in the Middle East, it's kind of an island, unto itself. A bowling alley in Bahrain. Damn, I wish we did have Guy on here because that would be a interesting subject matter to talk about. I mean, we have a bowling alley in Bahrain and we have marble floors in Tel Aviv. I mean, this show is cultured, Mason. I mean, we've got some stories. We've got some stories. Yeah.
Well, that's what this podcast today for this episode is because there's been no Blues hockey. What else can we talk about?
Nothing.
Okay, let's get this out of the way right now for people who are watching this 15 minutes in and are going, when are they going to talk about hockey? We're probably not going to. Because what is there to talk about? Maybe a little bit, but like
a little bit, a dash.
Really, Jimmy Vesey got claimed by Vancouver. Tyler Bozak and Jaden Schwartz are on the road to recovery. That's good. Like literally, we're just gonna be shooting the shit the whole time.
And because this is a podcast with a mandatory time to get it in, and the fact that we have lives, you just know that when people listen to this for the first time on Thursday or Friday. and we're talking about, oh yeah, Bozak and Schwartz are coming back. They probably each scored hat tricks, Wednesday nights, and we're just gonna sound like, well, where the hell were you?
Bozak 21 goals and
where were
James
you
Schwartz, 2 goals, one goal for every hat trick he had in the 2019 playoffs.
Where were you when Tyler Bozak scored 5 against Los Angeles? That's where I was at the time.
Cold,
out freaking cold. Exactly. Like biting into a chocolate edible. Yeah.
Jealous.
I know. Well, yeah. Let's steer this away from federally illegal talk here.
It's not illegal.
By the way, we've left him kind of stewing, a little bit here, but we have another return to announce here on Bluenotes in our mandatory midweek episode. Leafs Occasionally is back! Yay! I think we recorded a little too early for our Leafs friend Sunday, so shout out to Leafs Forever, who, by the way, has been spamming us, asking us, "Hey, guess who's here? Leafs Occasionally, hello."
Leafs
so there
Occasionally is back.
There we go. I mean, I ignore our comments. So
Leafs every once in a while.
He also has his own flight issues here. Leafs Now and Then says, I had a flight to Florida and I went on American Airlines, got delayed 7 hours and took off after midnight instead of 5 or 6 p.m. I've lived those midnight flights before, and maybe that might be the only time, Mason, where I could possibly sleep on a plane without any enhancers.
It doesn't matter how tired I am. I cannot sleep in an airport. I can barely sleep in my bed. I have such a hard time sleeping. What makes you think I can sleep in a freaking airport?
Well, to those that are watching on Facebook or YouTube, welcome as well. I see a few of you here, and if you are going to actually stay up and watch the Blues Kings game, which you're a Blues fan, you should. I just work a weird schedule.
I have to.
Yeah, I know. It's duty. It is absolute duty. You're gonna have a video like at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Closer to 3:30 actually. This
3:30.
8 o'clock are usually 3:30.
There we go. So yeah, you'll have your own reaction video. Just search for BluesFanReacts on YouTube. Hello, Marianne Holmes. Thanks for watching the show. Our mandatory midweek episode, which a lot of interest in our mandatory midweek episode. Who knew?
Goodness, yeah, I know.
I have not seen the lines yet for tonight's game, Roland Spink. But it'll be.
I'll take a look at them right now.
Yeah, in fact, we're going to research that right now. But we want to get to Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, who, by the way, if you're watching live, the point I was going to make is go to the Hawaii Blues fan clan on Facebook, and and follow him on YouTube, because for his intermission episodes, he is going to be joined by former St. Louis Blue Terry Yake. To talk about the Blues. Terry Yake was Terry was around when I was growing up, and he was just a good veteran bottom six center, good at faceoffs, could score a little bit. I remember him fondly. I remember Terry Yake fondly, so I'm looking forward to seeing that.
What's the modern day Blue comparison?
By the way, Leafs Occasionally takes note of our complaining about late start times, and he notes that the Leafs do have 10 and 10:30 p.m. starts in Toronto. So that is a legit complaint. I'm not going to heckle you for that. That's when Vancouver comes to town, it must absolutely suck. So, and not just because it's Vancouver. Roland doesn't think he'll make it to the end of game. He works at 4. I'm not even going to try, because I have to be up at 2. My first alarm goes off at 2. So it's tough stuff. Alrighty. But thankfully we have Guy the Hawaii Blues fan here. We are featuring his Aloha commentaries on Thursdays now, and basically, for lack of a better term, he's telling us to take a chill pill.
And now from Honolulu, Hawaii, via St. Louis, starting in the Pacific Ocean, Guy the Hawaii Blues fan.
Hawaii Blues fan, we're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
And aloha! Welcome to Bluenotes Podcast. I'm Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, host of Fan Report, and the owner, operator of STLFanReport.com, and this is my Aloha Commentary. I hope everything's matching up. I've had a whole technical difficulty the last couple of days, and you know what? Sometimes us podcasters just go through a lot of trials and tribulations. A lot of things that we think are going to go right don't go right. Put out a great article, and the website goes down. No one reads it. Put out a crappy article, and we hope nobody reads it, and before we can take it down, everybody's read it, and they've made all these comments about it, and it's too late to take it down because now you look like you're in reverse. You know, it's sometimes days can be just a pain in the nowhere. So why am I going on and on about this? Well, the life of the St. Louis Blues is absolutely no different. There are games where you think that the Blues are just absolutely going to win, and they don't. Then there's games where you're pretty sure they're going to lose, and they come out and win the game. We have gone through a kind of a tough, rough spot. We have lost 3 straight games in overtime. Then we lost a game in regulation. We've had injury after injury after injury, yet we're still fighting. We had a game canceled, not to COVID, but due to weather. Kings couldn't get home. Yeah, they were stuck in Colorado. So this is probably one of the few times in Kings history they had a game snowed out at home. Yeah, think about that. A snowed out game in LA. It just makes me laugh. And that's what I'm going at. You know what, guys? We live and died by our Blues. We bleed blue. We feel every triumph, and we absorb every defeat. But when it comes down to it, they're still our team. They're still part of who we are. They're what we are. They're ingrained in us. These jerseys, our shirts, they're not cheap. They're expensive. They take hard-earned money. The equipment that we use for this isn't cheap. Yet, we do it because we care. And we have this intense love for this game called hockey, played on a sheet of ice. A frozen piece of rubber that they fire at each other at 100 miles an hour. And we can't get enough of it. We cheer for grown men, punch each other in the face just because. Get upset. They don't play up to the level that we think they should. Well, that's part of being a fan. Gotta tell you, that's what makes doing a podcast or Aloha Commentary or writing for the STLFanReport.com or coming on someone else's podcast or running a contest. That's what it's all for and about. It simply comes down to this. What I do, and I do what I love. Technical difficulties be damned. Neighbors be damned. And the little voices in my head. Because no matter what, like my Blues, I know that they're good enough. I know I'm good enough. What this comes down to is simply this. I'm Guy, the Blues fan. I'm Wags and Mason. Take it away. Talk about our vaunted and glorious St. Louis Blues. Because you gotta know, guys, that I am bleeding blue with you. I can't wait to see you on the next Aloha Commentary. Aloha! Oh, hit the right button, dummy!
And Guy with a message for all of us as we don't have any hockey to talk about. A good message about life there, Mason.
A little bit.
Yeah. And you know what? I gotta confess. When Guy sent that in, he told me he was trying to be the anti-Mason, the anti-you. So no screamy Blues fan there. Definitely down to earth guy. Gotta love him.
Dang,
gotta love him.
Good guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good guy.
Absolutely.
Without him, I wouldn't be on here because he's the one who introduced us. So
and if it weren't for him, you wouldn't be. Yeah, exactly. We would have never have met.
Mhm.
Or you would have been just that. Oh yeah. You got that YouTube account. I wonder what he's like. So there you go. There you go. Thankfully, Guy connected us, and the rest is history. By the way, he apologizes for he had a little bit of a fat lip there. You should see the other guy. But
okay, you got a fat head, so it's okay.
We
You're
both
fine.
do. We both do. I mean, I wear a 7 3/4 hat, so I mean,
Shit.
God gave me a giant head for some reason. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know why.
I got a 7 1/4. Holy crap.
Yeah. Actually, this. I mean, I can do 7 5/8, but that's semantics. That's semantics. So yeah, thank you very much, Guy, for that. And of course, again, he'll have Terry Yake on his intermission shows. If you're watching this live, you'll have those up on Wednesday nights in between the for each first and second intermission. So looking forward to that for sure. And then talk about staying positive. You know, we first of all, by the way, before we continue on any second here, I need to make an announcement in terms of some formatics here on the show. So normally at about this time of the episode, usually right around when Guy does his commentary, we would play a promo for another Hockey Podcast Network show. 2 weeks ago, it was for a Detroit podcast. Last week, it was for a Chicago podcast. And if you listened or watched to Monday's episode, it was a Nashville podcast. I feel like the universe is telling us something here, Mason. So you're a Blues fan. You watch Bluenotes, you listen to Bluenotes, you support Bluenotes because you're a Blues fan and you like talking about St. Louis Blues hockey. Not Detroit Red Wings hockey, not Chicago Blackhawks hockey,
not Chicago Blackhawks hockey.
Fuck no, not Nashville Predators hockey. So guess what? We are not going to play the promo this week. This is our Tiananmen Square moment here. Enough is enough. And if next week's promo is Boston, we quit.
To be fair, this is not against those other podcasts.
Yeah.
This is not why we're doing this. We're having
some fun. We're just having some fun here.
We're having some fun here, right? This is not a knock on any other podcasts on this network. But it's just a decision that we've made this week.
Yep.
And if anybody hates it, they can go shove it up the old keister, as Joey Vitale would say.
That's right. Absolutely. Fight the powers that be.
Right.
Exactly. So now on to Blues hockey, which is why you are here and watching or listening to us. Tyler Bozak is back. And
Buzz Lightyear!
And Jaden Schwartz is back.
Yay!
Happier
Schwartz
times.
and Tarasenko, huh?
Happier.
Schwartz and Tarasenko, when's that coming?
Yes, happy days are here again, guys. And they couldn't come at a better time, Mason, because as Money Puck showed this morning, the Blues have some work to do.
Holy shit.
This is, if you're watching the pod here, I'll just go ahead and full screen it. This is like their bullseye chart of everyone's odds of making it to the playoffs and then advancing to first, second, third, fourth, whatever. When the Blues won the Stanley Cup, even when the Blues were playing bad, Mason, these guys were like still all aboard the Blues train. Like on December 18th, right after Berube took over, they still had like St. Louis as like maybe like one of the top, if not the top team to win the Stanley Cup this year, which makes it, as you know, as a Blues fan, you kind of question that because it is the Blues. It is the Blues. But this year it's not looking as rosy, for Money Puck. They really like the Minnesota Wild, and I don't blame them for that. They have them going to the playoffs. Colorado's going to the playoffs. Vegas is going to the playoffs. We're still fourth on that, but Los Angeles is a little too close for comfort, which I really hope, Mason, to be done with Los Angeles this week. We talked about that, and we're not going to be done with them because we have to make up that Monday game at some point.
Yeah, I am not looking for. I'm so looking forward to just being done with LA. Just like I'm so glad that we're done with the freaking Coyotes. I'm so sick of them. Like, I would much rather play competitive teams over and over again than teams like that, because when we lose to teams like that, I get mad. When we lose to competitive teams, I don't get mad.
Yeah, and you know what? Guy is right. It's the Blues have not been helped by the fact that they've been injured. They go through these. It seems like every year the Blues go through kind of a valley. And I think we're going through the valley right now. But with Bozak and Schwartz back, Mason, I think we're gonna get out of that valley pretty quick.
I think so too, actually. I always said from the very beginning of this season, without Mike Hoffman, we were not cup contenders. With Mike Hoffman, we are, but that is assuming everybody is healthy. And you know what? Damn near everybody's healthy now. Obviously Gunnarsson's going to be out long term, but all of our main pieces are coming back all at once and in good time too, because like I said in my previous Bluenotes video, we are going to arguably have the hardest schedule going forward in the entire NHL.
Yeah, it is going to be an absolute gauntlet, because you're gonna have the bulk of your Avalanche games, the bulk. I think we played about half of our Vegas games, but then we haven't played any against Minnesota. None. Zero games. We were supposed to have a 2-game set with Minnesota earlier in the season, but guess what? They got COVID, like everyone else did during that very tumultuous part of the season, which, by the way, league's doing pretty well with that now. So that's true. I think we're actually going to see a finish this season.
Oh yeah. Is anybody else like really looking forward to playing Minnesota? I really want to see how the Blues do against them.
And the Blues have not had the best time with Minnesota in recent years. Minnesota has always played a style that seems to kind of they play a kind of a slower tempo. Kind of they try to keep the score down a little bit. They play a very defensive minded game, and the Blues have trouble with teams like that every now and then. So, but unfortunately, but they've got this Kaprizov kid, who is probably going to win the Calder. He had a lot of hype when he signed this offseason, and enough hype to where you're kind of like, is he really that good? Is he really? Yeah, he's that good. He is that good. For the first time, I think, in about a decade, Mason, the Wild actually have an interesting player, because otherwise they're a really boring team.
Yeah, seriously. He has really been the spark for them this year. Krill the Thrill. And worth mentioning, their goaltender too. Their rookie goaltender. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He has pretty much, I think he's in the process of taking over the number 1 job from Cam Talbot, who was their big offseason signing. Yeah.
He's on a 9-game win streak right now.
I just picked him up in one of my fantasy leagues. So
you lucky bugger.
I'm very happy to get him. By the way,
thank you, Dan.
We have put up a blob of text here on our screen. The Blues projected lineup: Sanford, O'Reilly, Perron, Blaze, Shen, Tarasenko, Hoffman, Bozak, Kyrou, which let's talk about that line for a second here. Clifford, Dakota Joshua, and Oscar Sundquist are your forwards. That third line, for the first time in, I feel, ages, actually looks like a good third line and not just a collection of your favorite muckers and grinders.
That is actually, you got a playmaker in Bozak. You got the speed demon himself, Jordan Kyrou, and you got the sniper, Mike Hoffman.
Yeah, Captain Clapbomb.
I like that, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could see Kyrou creating some havoc in the offensive zone, getting all the attention turned on him, and then just firing it to Hoffman in the Ovechkin circle and doing what he does. This I'm going to watch this line. That's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, they probably, by the time you actually watch this Thursday, they might have gone, no goals and, a -5. But we will never know until after this podcast is published.
True.
So we all have defensive pairings: Torrey Krug and Justin Falk, the new dream team, by the way, for St. Louis. Who thought that?
American boys.
Vince Dunn and Marco Scandella. So Scandella's playing on his offhand, and probably giving some protection for Dunn, who, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
That's a whole other. We're trying to stay positive. The guy has such a positive message today. We're staying positive.
Yes. Yeah,
and then this bruising line, Mikola and Portuzzo as your final pairing. You want to talk about people movers? That could be the people. That could be the people moving line. That's about as close as you get to having our two most defensive minded players paired. And then we got Binnington's in goal. He's back. Okay. Huso will be the backup. That's all from Korak. But I had to celebrate the Bozak signing with a little bit of a purchase, Mason. You have a surprise. You have a surprise for us later. This is my surprise.
Okay.
So we had talked. I think it was actually our most recent episode. We had talked about when you come to St. Louis, the three of us, you, me, and Wags, are going to play street hockey.
Yes.
And I made mention of the fact that I have two hockey sticks behind me, right over here in the corner. Mm-hmm. One is the Rick Nash, the other is a Nico Mikola, and they're both lefties, and I'm a righty. Mm-hmm. So I needed to get a right-handed stick. Well, I got this in the mail today.
Hey!
A right-handed Warrior stick. And let me find the right spot here. Of course, it's kind of awkward managing a giant hockey stick on your cramped desk. Let's see if I can get it here. Where are you? Here we are. It is
Tyler Bozak.
This is a team-issued Tyler Bozak. It wasn't actually used in a game. There's no tape on it or anything like that. But this is a stick that they issued to Tyler Bozak. Wow. So when we do finally get together and playing some street hockey, you are going to witness the power of Scorzak in this stick.
And I use a wooden stick, so you better watch out because I stick check a lot. I might break that thing. One foul swoop with my solid piece of wood, and bang, there goes that stick.
Well, Al McInnes would be so proud of you, by the way, for still using a wooden stick.
I used wooden sticks throughout my entire hockey. Every time I played hockey, I never liked the composite. The only composite I ever liked was a Warrior stick. Other than that, nothing else is gone. I just like the wooden sticks. What? It gives me muscles. Give me big muscles.
Big muscles. Big man.
And then and after that, no, but.
This is our mandatory midweek episode. This really is
midweek episode. Mandatory.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, big muscles. But then I just feel like I have so much more control over the ball, and you can't lift that dang stick because I'm so tough on it. So there's a lot of big advantages to it. So
yeah, exactly. By the way, I got that stick from Pro Stock Hockey. This is a free plug, but they get like basically whatever like each NHL team like discards for their equipment. Right? It's never game use stuff, but it's always like surplus. Like at the end of the season, they have extra sticks, for instance. And so they have a few blue sticks just like that if you wanted to partake at prostockhockey.com. They also give you 3 rolls of tape with every order, which is nice. Yeah, for
3 rolls?
Yeah, they give you you can choose to do 3 white, 3 black, 3 clear, or you can do like a mix of the 3. I have a couple of those up actually right up here where my finger is. So it's always a nice service.
Do they have pink?
I don't think they have pink. They're pretty basic.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I know they've disappointed us. No sponsorship for Pro Stock Hockey.
For that reason, because you don't have
better.
You don't have pink tape. Unbelievable.
Do better. All right, so we'll talk a little bit more about Jaden Schwartz and Tyler Bozak's return to the lineup this coming Sunday afternoon. We'll live stream that as we always do on Sunday afternoons. That's our big show of the week. And then or if you can listen on Monday, that's just as well. So we have a sad story to kind of talk about here. It's not really Blues related, but the hockey world was very saddened this week to hear of the death of a 19-year-old KHL junior player, Timur Fazootinov. Fazootinov, I think is how you say it, something like that. I haven't offended his family too much, but Timur, unfortunately, in all seriousness, in case you haven't read the story. He was playing a game, and during the game, the other team tried to dump the puck into his zone. He's a defenseman, And it was just one of those freak things where the puck just smashed off the side of his head, like right around where the ear is, where the skull connects. And he went to the hospital, and it turned out that the puck hit him at a point in the helmet where it doesn't protect you really. Because if you ever worn a hockey helmet, like here, I got one back here. So like if you have a hockey helmet here, this is just your standard CCM. You got all this protection, like this is like the top of your head here. You got a little bit along the sides, but where your ears are, like this has some plastic tabbies to protect your ears. Not all players have these plastic tabs to protect their ears. Some like to have, their ears still sticking out. So I don't think he had this. And then the puck just kind of hit into where the ear hole is. Yeah. No protection whatsoever. It ended up cutting his carotid artery, and unfortunately he passed. And it wasn't like he was a great prospect or anything. He was the captain of his team, but it's just all these type of hockey deaths, Mason, are always sad.
Oh, it's just, I mean, it's very interesting because think of how many games that he has played hockey total throughout, his entire career, and throughout the, when he was just playing on little junior leagues. That kind of play happens 1,000 times a game. It always happens, and it's just a matter of wrong place, wrong time, and it's really bad. And obviously our condolences to the family and everybody who's been affected by this. I mean, it's just really unfortunate.
It really is. It kind of reminds me, first of all, it's shades of Alexei Sharaponov, who was a Rangers prospect who collapsed on the bench, and he had undetected heart issue, which, by the way, happened I think Jaromir Jagr was sitting next to him when that happened. So it just is always, as the Blues experience with Bouwmeester, always a scary situation. But it also, I read a story. This is completely unrelated to hockey, but there was a story of this poor woman in Florida who was just riding around in her neighborhood with her kid, and a plane falls from the sky and lands on her car. And her kid died. I think she was last in critical condition, and then the people in the small plane died. But what are the odds? Think of the odds for getting struck by lightning. What are the odds of your car being in the exact place where a plane crashes? I mean, figure the odds of a plane crash, number one, and then compound that with hitting, a target about 6 feet by 5 feet or however wide a car is. I mean, it's just
so unfortunate. Unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. But what else is unfortunate? You've got a story to tell here, and that is people trying to make tasteless and just absolutely crash jokes on the internet.
Yes, well, everybody knows what an edgelord is. I'm sure all of you know what that is. For those of you who aren't internet savvy, it is a slang term for somebody who... Oh, you're making me full screen now. Okay, that
pressure's on you, bud. All you. This is your rant.
Gotcha. Well, an edgelord is somebody who it intentionally posts troll messages with the intention of eliciting a reaction. So oftentimes it's really tasteless jokes, so for example, on the Sportsnet story, they announced the death of that poor young Russian player, and everybody was and everybody was my condolences and everything like that. And then this guy decided, you know what? I am going to make a funny joke out of it. And I'm not going to repeat what he said because it's disgusting and it's actually no longer on the internet. More on that later. But it's just too bad. I'd actually like it if we made both of us in the screen.
Okay.
It's a psychological thing.
Okay, gotcha. Hi, I'm here. It's okay.
Hi, it's back. Because then it looks like I'm talking to you, and because nervous still.
Well, this is your floor. The floor is yours.
Yes, the floor is mine. So anyway,
I'll be here for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So anyway, so the guy, he made a tasteless joke, and I just responded, "Yeah, you're hilarious. Good job. Congratulations." And I said, "Here's that attention you ordered. You sick fuck." And he said, "Thank you." And then he keeps continuing. He's like, "You forgot my fries." And it's Okay, that's it. And so I unintentionally, just because it felt like the right thing to say, I'm going to tell you exactly what I said, but I accidentally created a copy pasta. And it's actually been blowing up on the internet. It's freaking everywhere now. So that's my internet claim to fame. But it says, let me pull it out. It says, I'm going to find you. I'm going to figure out your residence, your work, and everything you thought you can keep hidden behind the pathetic wall of online shame and self-loathing. I said this is a total joke. By the way, I don't mean a dang thing that I said in this. It says, I said, like I said, I'm going to find out where you live, your residence, and everything you thought you could keep hidden behind your pathetic wall of online shame and self-loathing. I will not stop, even if it takes years, and I will relish every moment of your suffering. Good day. And and a bunch of trolls attacked me and started trying to dox me, but I'm good because I intentionally make my Twitter account so that it doesn't mention my name. It doesn't mention anything about me. So you cannot physically find out who I am through my Twitter account.
That's right.
So
no one will ever find Cletus Van Dam. Just so, yeah. His name is Cletus Van Dam. So, you know, good luck finding that.
So I posted that, and all these trolls are like trying to say, "Oh, it's like special needs Liam Neeson." Ha ha ha. And it's like, okay. And then some guy messaged me, and his name is Jackson. And he messaged me with quoting that copy pasta and said,
which is God tier copy pasta, by the way.
This is one of my friends. He's a good guy. How's it going? He said, "Hey, are you actually going to dox this guy?" And I said, I mean, I kind of want to, but I don't want to waste my effort doing it. And he goes, "Oh, I'll help you out." And so I said, "Oh, okay." And I thought he was like kind of making a joke about it. And then he comes back. He gives me the link to what he did, his logic is he found his fiance on Twitter. And through his fiance, he found one of his exes. And one of his exes has a Facebook profile. And he found out that he found his ex from an anniversary tweet, like, "Happy anniversary. I'm so glad I finally met you." Obviously, he's an ex now, but the tweet's still up there. And so he tagged her in it. And so we found her Facebook profile and decided, hey, we should find out. We should correlate the dates and see if she made an anniversary post on Facebook and tagged him in it.
Yeah.
And that's how we found his Facebook profile.
Nice.
And so we were like, okay. And it said a bunch of like vague stuff, and it didn't have much information, but what it did have was a LinkedIn site.
Ooh. And
so we found his LinkedIn, and on that LinkedIn, it showed where he went to school. It shows who his current employers are and who his old employers were. So we know literally everything about this guy now. And we're like, okay, well, let's see if we can find the location of where he worked. Because this guy, he made a tasteless joke. He deserves this. All right. I don't do this to random people. He totally deserves this. And so we found out that he works in a town in Alabama. And so we literally contacted his employer and we said, hey, this is what this guy has been posting. And we took he's made like Nazi jokes. He's made like abortion jokes, just all these awful, awful tweets. And so we compiled like a list of like 100 terrible tweets and we sent them all to his employer. Well, I did.
Wow.
And we have been notified that he got fired. And it wasn't like an entry level job. It was an engineering job. He went to school for 6 years to get his degree. And he's been blacklisted too. So even if he tries to get an engineering job anywhere else, he won't be able to.
Now he'll be giving you your order and fries as well.
Exactly.
In a couple of years.
How ironic.
Turn the table. Maybe Wags will hire him. No, he wouldn't do that. He
wouldn't do that.
He doesn't hire jerks.
And because of that, we got it so right. And the guy actually tweeted out, this was my friend Jackson. He tweeted out, all his personal information, obviously with his address bleeped out, but like all of his information, his occupation. Yeah, all of his occupation. I was just showing you what it was. I don't want you to see that because then you'll try to send bad things to his address or anything like that. We already did that. Don't worry.
The work's been done.
Exactly, work's been done. And he messaged he messaged Jackson and he's like, "Hey, you know I was just trolling, right?" And I was like, that's how we know that we're right. And then he went private immediately. And when I checked, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you something glorious. You ready for this?
3, 2.
Hang on. Pressure.
5.
I'm going to click on his profile. Deactivated! This user no longer exists.
Good work, man.
He's just posted all these like I said, all these like terrible things, and I'll show you my chat history with him. But he said, well, I mean, I was trolling singularly, and I would never try to want to or fix somebody, or dox somebody. And I said, no, Biggie, we already doxed you. And I said, just remember the internet, and he called us retards. So he said, those internet retards are often the smartest people on the site, and you don't want to get on their bad side. And then I posted this because I said, after I posted that copy pasta, I will find you. He posted this GIF that said, have fun with that. And that was the final straw for me. I'm like, that's it. I'm doxing it. That's it. That was like the final thing. I said, you know what? We're going to end this guy's career. And then in that private message, look at that, a shrug emoji. I clinked to him his own tweet, and I shrugged. And I feel like that is just the perfect ending. And I hope he never finds a job. I hope his fiance breaks up with him because it's his fiance and she didn't know about this. I hope that happens, and I hope he really thinks about what he did. And you know what? From now on, me and Jackson, we're going to find people like that, and we're going to do the exact same thing to them.
That's totally fair. I mean, you got a lot of work there because everyone's a keyboard warrior anymore, but that's one. That's one at least. And yeah,
keeping the internet clean. We're keeping the internet free of trolls. We're doing a service.
Exactly. You just don't do that. By the way, hello, Ashley Jones.
Hello.
Thanks for watching tonight. Actually, unfortunately, you're catching us at the end of our mandatory midweek episode, but we'll be back on Sunday, probably in the sometime in the evening. We need to coordinate our schedules again. By the way, I feel comfortable in teasing this. We just recently had Colton Ellis on, by the way, the Blues goaltending prospect. We are working. I can tell you. Basically, officially, we are working on getting Joel Hofer on Bluenotes, the other great Blues goaltending prospect. In fact, the one that probably has more hype behind him just because of what he did for Canada World Juniors a few years ago. So we are working on that. By the way, his status, he has been assigned to Utica, the Utica Comets, but he is still in quarantine, so he hasn't actually had a chance to play for them yet because he's coming down from Canada. So hopefully once he gets settled in Utica, we can get an update on his progress, and it should be a very fun interview. I'm hoping to have this. I'm hoping to have it not this coming Sunday, but a week after Sunday, maybe. But just want to let you know we've got that percolating in the old carafe, as they say. So before we go, Mason, you had one more message.
Yes. So a lot of people here know who I am. I'm BluesFanReacts. I make a video after every single Blues game. There's a guy who's a good friend of mine, and his name is Owen Crepes. And he makes a video after every single Penguins game, and he's got a shout out from Steve Dangle. It's like, Steve Dangle endorsed. I'm not even Steve Dangle endorsed. This guy is. He's good, and I really like his content. 3 days ago now, his his backpack got stolen. And that backpack, his laptop got stolen, his camera got stolen, his wallets and everything just totally got stolen from him. And so, but he said he made a commitment to YouTube, and he said he's going to make a video after every single game, come hell or high water. So we literally used his phone, and he recorded a video about after the Pairings game, despite 3 hours earlier just being robbed. So it just shows the dedication that this guy has. And not only does he use his laptop for YouTube, he's a college student too. And so I decided that I'm going to make a GoFundMe for him. And I already have it up, and we're at $50 right now. I've already pledged $150 to it. But hopefully we'll link it. I'm sure we'll link it in the description of this video.
Yeah, we'll
in the tweets as well.
Yeah, we will add it here. I'll go ahead and pop it up here as soon as I get it loaded up here, but keep talking about it.
Yeah. And it's just something I want to give back to him. And I made the goal 1,500. That should be, about, I believe he said his laptop was something like 1,100. So I wanted to make something a little nicer for him.
Sure.
So I'm just, I just please share that, guys. He would really appreciate it. If you can donate $1, like $1 or even a share is enough. We want to get the word out. If there's one guy who deserves this, it's him. So, he's a guy I've gotten to know on Twitter. He's been a good supporter of my channel and the Bluenotes. In fact, he's been casually watching our episodes.
Awesome. That's
when
awesome.
we air them. So this is something that's, really important to me. It's really important to him. And I just hope that you guys at least share. If you can't donate, then share. It's okay. So we would just really appreciate that. I believe we're at $50 right now.
Yeah, this is the what the page looks like here. So if you want to check that out at GoFundMe, and you pinned that post on your Twitter, which is at BluesFanReacts. So that's a easy way to find it there. So all right, well, that is going to do it for our mandatory midweek episode. And I want to thank you for listening and watching, because without you, there is no me, there is no Wags. Where are you, Wags?
Where is he? Where'd he go?
Where? And there is no Mason. Blues Fan Reacts. I'm finally pointing in the right direction here. And of course, there is no Hockey Podcast Network without you. So thank you for listening and watching. I'm Tom Franklin, reminding you to not be a chump. And what should everyone do, Mason?
Play to the whistle!
A reminder that you can follow Bluenotes on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bluenotes Pod. I'm the voice of the Blues, Tom Calhoun. Jeremy Boyer, play us out.
You're listening to the Hockey Podcast Network, your home for hockey talk covering every team in the NHL. New episodes every Monday. Download at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcasts from.